All right, taking a look at 3.5, part 2. All right, example 4 says graph the models of total cost of joining a gym, writing the equation of the line, and explain the meaning of the slope and the y-intercept. So to find slope, as a reminder, our equation says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have 363 minus 231 divided by, and on the x's we have 5 minus 2. 363 minus the 231, we get 132 on the top. On the bottom, 5 minus 2, we get 3. So 132 divided by 3, and we get our slope to be 44. Now, slope is rise over run. Our rise is our y values. Well, that's our cost. So the 44 is our cost. The run, that's our x values. So that's in months. So there's the cost per month. So what does your slope mean? It's the cost per month. So it is $44 per month. They also want you to find your y-intercept. Now, unfortunately, when I look at the graph, I cannot tell exactly where that goes through my y-axis. They don't give me that point. So instead, we need to find it out. This is where we take our original equation. That y equals, now we know it's going to be 44x plus p. And we take one of our points and we plug them in. I'm going to use 2 comma 231 because they're the smaller of the numbers. So I have 231 equals 44 times 2 plus b. 231, 44 times 2 is 88. So I got to subtract it over. So I'm doing 231 minus my 88, and we get 143. Now that is my y-intercept. So that is my cost when x is 0. So that is your initial cost. To write your equation then, we know our slope was 44. Our y-intercept we just found to be a positive 143. So there's our equation of our line. Take a look at example 5 then. It says graph your line in standard form. Standard form we said was going to be useful because we can use it to find your x-intercept and we can use it to find the y-intercept. Now, your x-intercept, that means where it is going to cross the x-axis. To find where it crosses the x-axis, that means we let y equal 0. So we have 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. So I have 3x plus 0 equals 12. So 3x equals 12. Divided, we get x to equal 4. So my x-intercept is where x is 4. To find your y-intercept instead, that's where it would cross your y-intercept, or your y-axis. So you let x equal 0 to find your y-intercept. So we have 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 12. So I get 0 plus 4y equals 12, which means 4y equals 12. And when we divide, we get y to equal 3. So your y-intercept then is 3. Connect your points, and that is what your line would look like. That is how you use standard form instead. All right, take a look at your independent practice then. First question says, the equation y equals 50x plus 125 models the total cost of joining a climbing gym. What are the meanings of your slope and y-intercept? Well, actually, we just kind of went over that. That 125, that's your y-intercept. What does it mean? That is your initial cost to join the gym. Your slope, in this case, was 50. Your slope, that's that ratio, right? That is your cost per time frame. Meaning, is it per month, per week, per visit? And then the last one talks about graphing three lines. So to graph our first line, 2x minus 3y equals 6. You can graph it one of two ways. You can find your x-intercept and y-intercept if you want. You can also solve it for y and use slope-intercept form. Since it's in standard form already, I'm just going to find my x-intercept and y-intercept. Your x-intercept is where y equals 0 as a reminder. So I have 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 6. So we get 2x minus 0 equals 6. So 2x equals 6. So x equals 3. There's our x-intercept. To find the y-intercept, that is where x is 0. So we have 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. 2 times 0 is 0. Minus 3y equals 6. So I got negative 3y equals 6. So y equals negative 2. So there's my y-intercept. When you graph your when you plot your 2 points and connect them, there is the line 2x minus 3y equals 6. They also want you to graph the line y equals 4. The line y equals 4, I go up to where y is 4. If it is y equals a number, it is always going to be a horizontal line through that number. If instead it is x equals a number, I go to where x is that number, x equals negative 3, and it is a vertical line through that number. Now, I do have one other thing I want to make sure to go over with you. Taking a look at what I have here. If I give an original equation, I give you the equation x equals 7. And I want you to create a parallel line for that and a perpendicular line for that. And I tell you it goes through the point 2 comma negative 3. Now, a parallel line. First off, the line x equals 7. That is a vertical line through where x is 7. So this is what the line x equals 7 would look like. To be a parallel line to it then, it is going to have to be another vertical line. The key is it has to go through the point 2 comma negative 3. To go through that point, it is going to have to be x equals some number. Well, what does x have to equal if it goes through this point? X has to equal 2. If instead, and you're going to have this on your test, if instead they want a perpendicular line, if the original line is going vertically, the perpendicular line is going to have to go horizontally, meaning it's going to have to go from left to right. The equation of that type of line is always y equals some number. What does y have to equal if it goes through my point? Well, y would have to equal -3. There's no work to do on these problems. You either know it or you don't. You're going to have one of each of those on your test. Right? So make sure we know how to do this. Your homework here is the odds only, and we'll talk about your chapter 3 test here as we progress through this the last couple sections here. Right? But tonight's homework, you'll see, is pages 184 to 185, numbers 3 to 43 odd.